Thanks to Michael Benson from Florida, who I spied in a rope line holding a container of money, and it turned out he'd raided his piggy bank and wanted to contribute. And thanks to Alana Wexler, 11 years old, who started Kids for Kerry all across our country. I think of the brigades of students and people, young and old, who took time to travel, time off from work, their own vacation time, to work in states far and wide. They braved the hot days of summer and the cold days of the fall and the winter to knock on doors because they were determined to open the doors of opportunity to all Americans. They worked their hearts out, and I wish you know how much that I could have brought this race home for you, for them. And I say to them now, don't lose faith. What you did made a difference, and building on itself, we go on to make a difference another day. I promise you, that time will come. The time will come, the election will come, when your work and your ballots will change the world, and it's worth fighting for. I want to especially say to the American people, in this journey, you have given me the honor and the gift of listening and learning from you. I have visited your homes, I've visited your churches, I've visited your community halls, I've heard your stories, I know your struggles, I know your hopes. They are part of me now. And I will never forget you, and I'll never stop fighting for you. You may not understand completely in what ways, but it is true when I say to you that you have taught me and you've tested me and you've lifted me up and you've made me stronger. I did my best to express my vision and my hopes for America. We worked hard and we fought hard, and I wish that things had turned out a little differently. But in an American election, there are no losers. Because whether or not our candidates are successful, the next morning we all wake up as Americans. And that is the greatest privilege and the most remarkable good fortune that can come to us on earth. With that gift also comes obligation. We are required now to work together for the good of our country. In the days ahead, we must find common cause. We must join in common effort, without remorse or recrimination, without anger or rancor. America is in need of unity and longing for a larger measure of compassion. I hope President Bush will advance those values in the coming years. I pledge to do my part to try to bridge the partisan divide. I know this is a difficult time for my supporters, but I ask them, all of you, to join me in doing that. Now more than ever, with our soldiers in harm's way, we must stand together and succeed in Iraq and win the war on terror. I will also do everything in my power to ensure that my party, a proud Democratic party, stands true to our best hopes and ideals. I believe that what we started in this campaign will not end here. And I know our fight goes on to put America back to work and to make our economy a great engine of job growth. Our fight goes on to make affordable health care an accessible right for all Americans, not a privilege. Our fight goes on to protect the environment, to achieve equality, to push the frontiers of science and discovery, and to restore America's reputation in the world. I believe that all of this will happen, and sooner than we may think, because we're America, and America always moves forward. I've been honored to represent the citizens of this Commonwealth for in the United States Senate now for 20 years. And I pledge to them that in the years ahead, I'm going to fight on for the people and for the principles that I've learned and lived with here in Massachusetts. I'm proud of what we stood for in this campaign and of what we accomplished. When we began, no one thought it was possible to even make this a close race. But we stood for real change, change that would make a real difference in the life of our nation and the lives of our families. And we defined that choice to America. I'll never forget the wonderful people who came to our rallies, who stood in our rope lines, who put their hopes in our hands, who invested in each and every one of us. I saw in them the truth that America is not only great, but it is good. So here, with a grateful heart, I leave this campaign with a prayer that has even greater meaning to me now that I've come to know our vast country so much better. It's thanks to all of you, and what a privilege it has been to do so. And that prayer is very simple. God bless America. Thank you.
His voice hoarse, clearly choking up. John Kerry concedes defeat, says he hopes that today the United States can begin the process of healing. We cannot win this election, John Kerry says. We'll continue to watch these pictures, live pictures from Faneuil Hall. Jeff Greenfield, in contrast to what John Kerry said, John Edwards said at one point, the fight has just begun. We will continue to fight for every vote. I heard two very different themes coming through these speeches by John Edwards and John Kerry.
Well, John Kerry actually echoing Ted Kennedy's sort of concession speech in 1980 at the Democratic Convention, the famous speech about the dream will never die. He said our fight goes on, and then he had the laundry list of affordable health care. But he also struck the note that I think everyone wanted him to strike. I want to see the president succeed. We have a tough fight in the war on terror. We have a tough fight in Iraq. We don't need recriminations. I realize that it may be spoiling the moment, but I suspect, as I said a moment ago, that the minute George Bush sends his, if there is one, a Supreme Court nomination up, that fight will not only not die, it will start in reheated form.
Maybe John Edwards will be right when he says the fight has just begun, referring to, among other fights. Judy, give us your thoughts on what we just saw.
Well, I do. I hate to be cynical, but, you know, we've heard them say before, you know, the country's divided. John Kerry just said America is in need of unity. But I think it was a genuine expression at this moment. Clearly, he is feeling the worst sort of disappointment. And he did reach out. He did reach out to the president. I think he made a very gracious statement. He certainly thanked the people who have given their all to him for the months to come. And I think what he said is a message that is going to, you know, it has a feel to it that is going to, I think, make Democrats feel better about this loss, if such a thing is possible. Because he said, I pledge to do my part to bridge the partisan divide, and now more than ever, he said, we've got troops in Iraq. We must win the war on terror, and so on and so on. So I think this is the beginning of at least an effort to bring the country together, but a lot of hard work lies ahead. No
to raise the Heinz Kerry, John Kerry,